Started.
Arc V. Okay, what have I got here? E4 or D4? How about E4 again? And he goes for the Sicilian. Okay, let's see what we get. A knight C6 line. It's pretty respectable. And we get to this dividing way, and there's a lot of ways for for black to proceed here. So when he plays a move that doesn't attack the e-pawn, I can play the Maroczy bind. I might as well go for that. That seems to have worked well for me. And he can't even get a pin on this knight, which sometimes he can if he plays e6 like there. So well, let's stop the let's defend the e-pawn so that the pin has no particular value. So now he goes d5. Is that really good in this position? He went d5 in one move, right? Sometimes that's a positive thing. I can't play e5 and hit his knight because he can take it. I could take this knight first and then play e5. But is that any good? His knight would come back here. I would have to defend the pawn. Or I could just take. See how he wants to take back. He has to take back with a pawn, I guess. Now, I could just develop. Bishop to e3. He takes the pawn. I take with the knight. Yeah, it's not so great, is it? Because he can take and then give me an isolated e-pawn. Okay, well, we get this wide open position here. We'll see what Arc V can do with this one. He has to play knight takes, I thought. Let's see. He can't play queen takes because my knight is defending that. I guess maybe he's checking to see if there's some weird tactic, like after knight takes. His queen takes back, and then if I have some discovery, his queen is loose there. I don't see any great discoveries, though. Let's avoid trades. Am I playing here? Well, now I have to worry about weird discoveries. So if I go knight e4 and he takes a knight and I take with the queen, does his knight have any great discoveries? It can go here. It doesn't have any moves that attack the king. Yeah, I can take that, so I can't avoid all the trades. I can move this knight, and maybe I will be forced to take his knight on c6, because this knight will come under attack. Well, maybe I could defend it.
Check.
We will see. Okay, so he's playing like that. That's a problem, huh? Yeah, that's a problem. So if I block with the knight or the bishop, then this knight is hanging. So I have to move the king, I guess. Well, it'll be interesting to look at that in the postmortem and see how that opening is supposed to go. Maybe you can't get away. Sometimes you can't actually play that c4 move. Maybe this is one of them. Or maybe the mistake was later. Okay, so now I can take the knight and give him an isolated pawn here. His bishop is well defended, so there's no immediate tactic. But I can kick it. Anyway, but that knight on d4 was a liability. It was under threat. So it's good for me just to get rid of it. And if I can do it with a tempo and mess up his pawns a little bit, that's probably good. Then I can play something like bishop to c4, hitting his knight, threatening. Am I really threatening? Yeah, threatening to take it. Not really when it's defended with the pawn, huh? Okay, but I like the idea of getting this bishop out anyway. Is there another square that's better? Probably not. Don't see a better square. Anyway, the idea is to bring my rook to the e-file and be able to move my king back. If he checks me on this diagonal, I have bishop to e3. Oh, I don't have bishop e3. Gosh, I do not have bishop e3. His knight is guarding that square. So if he plays queen b6 check, I have to drop my king back to f1. I'm not thinking ahead very well here. You're supposed to plan these things out before you make the move. So queen b6 check looks like a good move to me. Maybe he's worried about that exchange there. Okay, let's take that knight off. That knight was becoming a problem. With the knight out of the way, then I can play queen e3 in response to... with the knight out of the way, I can play bishop e3 in response to the queen check. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm expecting him to take back with the bishop, and then I'll bring my rook to e. I can't play rook e1. His bishop is guarding the e1 square. I want to defend this knight here in some way, so that if he takes, I can take back with a piece and not end up with an isolated pawn here. So after bishop takes, maybe I play queen e2. Or maybe I first kick his bishop out of the way. And maybe that's more logical. So bishop takes, bishop, pawn to a3. This bishop moves. If it goes back here, I'll play pawn to b4. If it goes back here, then I can play rook to e1. See, if I kick the bishop and he takes the knight, I trade queens, take the bishop, and maybe I need, and if I defend the knight from behind, like queen e2, like I was saying, he can pin it with the rook. There's queen to d4. Queen d4 hits the bishop, so gains a tempo there, and defends the knight, so if he takes, I can take with the queen. So let's try this, and he can't attack my queen with the rook. Okay, that was a little better calculated, I hope. I hope that was better calculated. So he can play something like knight or pawn to c5 defending his bishop, or pawn to a5 defending his bishop. Pawn c5, maybe I can take it. Knight takes pawn, bishop takes, queen takes. Is there some kind of skewer that wins material? The bishop on the back rank is defended. Maybe it's okay. Pawn to a5 defending the bishop, and I will still attack the bishop with a3. I want the bishop off that diagonal. Yeah, if the bishop goes there. No, now he's threatening. Let us pay attention. He's threatening bishop to b6, skewering the queen and the king. So bishop to e3 should stop that. If he plays bishop b6, now I can take it. Yeah, it's clever though. Looking for those tactics, trying to make use of them. So now maybe I get my rooks. Okay, so he wants to just go there. He was attacking the b pawn, which was defended by my queen, but I don't want the queen tied up to defense of the pawn. And I don't want my rook tied up to defense of the a pawn. I want to be able to move the rooks to the c and the d files. So I think this is okay. I was thinking about playing b4 already, kicking the bishop, but I couldn't do that with the rook there. But rook c1, maybe placing a knight on the c5 square. Maybe not, that would allow him to pin. He goes there anyway. Okay. That's why. I see. That was the other purpose of rook to b8, was to defend the bishop on b6. So I'll have to unwind a little bit carefully, but I think I can do it. Rook c8 and then move the queen out of the way. Or the queen could move out of the way now, but he could try and attack that knight with a move like queen to d6 or queen e7. I can defend with the rook and then unpin. So he goes for that. He wants to just maybe win 2 pieces. Two pieces for the rook, like rook takes bishop and bishop takes knight, if I move the queen away. So it keeps my queen tied up here defending things. Let's see. So are there tactics here, though? I could move the bishop here and threaten mate on g2, but he could take it, I guess. If I move the queen here, he just takes here and takes there. Okay, so let's start by defending the knight. And he piles up on the bishop and the knight. Okay, so let's defend the bishop next and introduce ideas of some discovery against the queen. Yeah, bishop here would be an interesting discovery, bishop to h6. But I don't think it works because he could take the rook here. Maybe not. Okay, so he got his queen out of the way. Can I move my queen out of the way now, too? If I go queen here, I'm threatening his queen. So he has no time to take the bishop. If he trades queens and takes the rook, I'll have to take back with my king because I need my rook to defend the knight. But I will have a rook here pointing at a bishop here pointing at his rook. Now it'll be an endgame with a bishop and knight versus 2 bishops. And I'll have a better pawn structure. Let's see, other ideas. He doesn't have many loose pieces, so bishop here attacking the queen. But then my queen is still pinned. But his queen can't go anywhere. It's kind of a skewer. Yeah, so I guess that's stronger. His queen can't go anywhere that continues to attack the knight. And the knight at the moment is adequately defended. So queen takes knight, I'll just play rook takes queen. So queen will go to a light square maybe. And I think I can just take the rook. Okay, maybe I'm getting out of this one. Well, that was an interesting batch of tactics there. So he takes that way. Yeah, so bishop takes knight, bishop takes queen. Let's see. Well, this is just a trade. He still has to move the queen now. I was wondering if I could take his queen, but he takes my queen, and then I don't even get the piece back. So, fortunately, my king is defending the rook. So I didn't leave a rook hanging on the back rank. And he does have a hanging queen. And when the queen moves, I can grab the rook. So I should come out the exchange ahead in this line. Let's see if he comes up with anything else here. Rook takes rook, bishop takes queen. That can't be all that good. No great discoveries with the bishop because it can't move with check, and my queen will just take his queen after the bishop moves. No, I think there's no good move for black here. I don't see it. Don't see a good move for black. Okay, the clock is counting down. Okay, just retreats, yeah. So I'm going to take his rook. I don't see much better. He can take my rook and I can take back. Eventually he's going to want to capture that bishop there.
Server announcement.
You know, I could take here first because that's with check.
Check.
And now he has to take with the queen, now that the queen is in between. And so this leaves me with more of a pure endgame here. Okay, so what do I want to do? How do I win this one? Yeah, the material is even in terms of pawns. Let's see. Let's drop back, putting these things on dark squares, and I'm defending this pawn with the idea of pushing these forward. I couldn't play b4 immediately because his bishop could take on a2, but I want to play a3, b4. I have to defend b3 before I can do that. So queen to e3, and I can play a3 and b4. And those guys will be on dark squares where his bishop can't attack them, and these pawns will be restrained. Queen on e3 also creates some back rank threats. This should be a win, but you know, it can be, you have to be careful. But it's a great advantage to know that he's got a light squared bishop, so pretty much I'm free to go where I like on the dark squares without running into any great tactics. I just have to look out for his queen and his pawns. Makes calculating a bit easier. Looks like he's letting his clock run down here, but he's probably not finding a move, searching for a move and not finding it.
Black forfeits on time.
Okay, I'll upload this and do a postmortem. See you guys later. Bye.